Hey, this is Troy from Mobius Life, and I've got Casey Zeman from Easy Webinar with me today. And we've been talking already. There's a number of things we've talked about even before we pressed record. So I wish we could go back and do that, but those bits and bytes are lost. So Casey, can you just give us a brief background if people don't know you? Who are you? What's Easy Webinar? And how did you get to become the Webinar Jedi?
Okay, Weapon or Jedi. I don't know if someone did use that recently, and I was like, "What? Oh, that sounds so weird." Well, I'm Casey Zeman, and I have a software, the founder of a software called Easy Webinar, which is an all-in-one online event software that allows you to stream out live events and automated events, which are pre-recorded events in different time zones in your attendees' time zone. It's used as a lead generation tool and also, of course, a sales tool, a sales engine, finally, for a lot of people that are content experts and authors and people that have either created a product or service and are trying to gain more leads and sales and community members online. And that's what the software does. It creates full webinar or online event funnels, which, it's a marketing funnel, essentially, what it is. So it allows you to build a know, like, and trust with your audience, and that's essentially why we built it. But I didn't start off in webinars. I actually started off in video, learning about video, learning about YouTube, and I love the most engaged tools for connecting with our audience, and video is on that level. But then there's obviously, in addition, the one level just above that is webinars, is online events, because they have a one-on-one real-time connection, engagement such as chat with the community members who are watching, whether it's live or whether it's recorded, you can do the chat. And so it just adds that additional level of engagement and community, which helps you to deepen that relationship with your audience. And that's why I love this stuff, because I am on a mission. I think, and I've kind of finally told myself, yes, this is my mission, I think, that I want to empower everybody to have their own voice and be able to connect with the audience that's perfect for them, that's right for them. And so that's why I do what I do. And that's why I chose webinars and online events. But I would not say I'm a webinar Jedi, but I do love these tools for deepening our relationship with our community members.
Cool. There's a phrase that I know you've used many times that I want to dig a little bit further in. And let me frame why I want to dig into it. You talked about connection. I've talked with many doctors and health practitioners, and there's huge changes in their industry right now, and they see more dramatic changes coming. And one of the things that we've started to realize is these are professionals that we as consumers need to hire, that we often have to hire without knowing if there's going to be a connection. I can't tell you how many doctor copays I've paid for that I wish I could get back.
Yeah.
So how do you think, right? So
Yes.
if we take that connection that you talked about, what would you want to tell a doctor, a chiropractor, massage therapist, the wellness business owner,
Right.
that webinars can be a way that they can help connect with people even before that first copay shows up?
Well, here's the thing about it is, the most successful people automatically start expressing why they do what they do. If they can start telling their story and sharing why and who their ideal customer is, then they'll be able to tap into that ideal customer. You're right. Online events and webinars are great because they can allow you to, before you even meet someone face to face, they allow you to go through this engagement cycle, right? This nurture cycle where someone is able to get to know you prior to even coming into your office. So if you're a chiropractor, what kind of things would you do for someone to help them get to know you better? Well, it's always about teaching. In my opinion, giving knowledge, sharing wisdom, that helps just so much with building that relationship. So if you can teach something and teach it well and teach it soundly to somebody, they will just inherently trust you more, right? So a chiropractor can teach about why chiropractic practicing is correct. Yeah, that's crazy how I just said that. But like things like why would you do it? Why do you need it? Maybe spine alignment and things like that. It's all about education. And once you fill that void of education that maybe someone doesn't know, or maybe they did know, but you not only stop at the education point, you also share why you are doing this. I always feel that it's best to share your personal story as to why you got into chiropractic work, right? Why are you a chiropractor? And you can say, like, well, my parents had, alignment problems. So, somebody had some issue in my family, and that's when I wanted to start devoting my life to helping others do X, Y, and Z. So, by expressing that, not only are you then teaching, but you're also sharing your story, and it builds that relationship. It builds that, personal relationship at that point, and then people will know who you are. And if they come into your office, they'll like, hey, I already know you. I saw the video, and you're just gonna, or I saw the webinar that you did where you taught me all about why I needed to come in, and you shared who you were. I thought it was great. I loved it. And then just make sure that if you are, if someone does meet you in person, that you pretty much are the exact same person that you are on the webinar. That's why the one thing that I should probably preface is that be authentic, okay? Don't try to steal somebody else's story. Just be your own authentic self in your story, okay?
Yeah.
That's one thing I think a lot of people just have a problem with. A lot of people just have a stumbling block about, well, people aren't going to be interested in my story, or I like to surf over the weekends. People don't want to know that from their chiropractor. Well, maybe they do want to know that.
Yeah,
maybe you want someone who surfs themselves, and then they have a back injury from surfing, so they come to you because they know you're the surfing chiropractor. I mean, come on, it's nowadays it's okay for people to have rounded lives and be very. I guess it's not the word is not vulnerable, but I think the word is transparent about who they are. And just be authentic. So anyway, to get back to your question, I think that you expressing knowledge and you expressing who you are two really solid ways to build a relationship even before someone comes in the office. I mean, obviously, if they're interested in you working with you, then they might be looking for chiropractic. I don't even know how to say that. In Los Angeles, and maybe your webinar pops up. Maybe your site with a webinar that says, learn, the 5 things that, chiropractic, learn 5 things you can do at home that will improve your back alignment, right? Well, they pop right in, they come into that, and they see the chiropractor, and he or she is teaching about, what are 5 things you can do at home to avoid coming into the chiropractor, which, at the same time, he's like, I'm sharing this, I am a chiropractor, but I am sharing this 5 things you can do to try to get your spine aligned every single day to just feel better in the morning before you do X, Y, and Z, And then at the end, obviously he has a call to action after he talks about why he does what he does. He says, hey, we're open 9 to 5. We have 3 wonderful staff members who are ready to assist you with any chiropractic work that you need. And on this particular page, you can also see a $50 coupon for your first session, something like that. A call to action. Give them something that they can, really dive in on, and you'll be surprised and amazed by the type of caliber of clientele and customers that you get that are already nurtured, that they they want to take advantage of that coupon, but they're probably you've already started such a good relationship with them that they probably will come back again and again and again. So I hope that
the connection's already there. So it's not like they found a coupon on Groupon or somewhere else and just printed it out and like I got to get this deal. Like you said, you've spent time to educate them. You spent time. Right. The word I use is be an advocate for them.
Yes.
And you're authentic. You're real. It's like, here's who I am. Here's why I do what I do. And so by the time they come in with that coupon, it's like, hey, Casey,
Yeah, they're excited.
It's like, remember me? No, we didn't.
No, I've never met you, but I have because I listen to all your video. I watch your webinar, man. We're fast friends.
That's right.
And that's the kind of how they feel that, you know, after they come and see whatever you're offering. And it just, you have to understand that you're allowing that to break down any barriers that you may have with getting a client and customer. You're not thinking about, I just need to get that client. I just need to get that client. No, you're thinking about, what can I give that client? What can I give these people? By doing that, they'll come in automatically. So just think of what you can give, and you'll get it back. So, you know, and some of what we were talking about earlier that we didn't catch is, you know, my wife has a Pilates studio here in Los Angeles, right? So I completely understand, you know, how people in the fitness world, the local marketing, or rather the local, you know, mom and pop shop, so to speak, what they need to do to deepen a relationship with their community, right? Or how do they get more clients? How do they get more customers? And that was a question, right? I'm not just pulling that out of.
Oh, it's a common concern, you know, whether it's a gym or a massage clinic or a chiropractic clinic or any of those types of wellness businesses. The common thread is, I need to find more clients. And so, you know, I think you're right on that using webinars as that funnel, and as marketers, you know, we can say funnel and know what we mean, but often that's not really something that's explained at massage therapy school or going through your personal training. But it's that funnel, a way to cast the nets wide. And find people that are ideal, so that by the time they come in, it's like, man, Casey, I am so excited to work with you.
Yeah. And the cool thing is that a funnel generally doesn't have to be that wide either, because remember, if you are a massage therapist, you are targeting people that are looking for massage therapy. So you're already, you know, and especially if you're targeting Massage Therapy Los Angeles, and you want yours to get found, well, that's very targeted. And what you're doing is you're taking targeted people through a funnel.
Yep.
So instead of
starting
it
with the
this,
masses,
it's almost like this.
Exactly. Yeah.
And just people are coming right in. And the idea behind it is that you give them something consumable, something you capture their email and give them a gift or a webinar or online event that they can come to. You share something that is of great value in terms of something that they can do for themselves. And don't think, and this is the thing, don't think about, oh, I'm sharing all my good stuff, they're never going to come back. No, that's not the case.
Exactly.
Your good stuff, the best stuff you have, share the best stuff you have. There's one thing you got to remember from this call: share the best stuff you have, because it doesn't matter, they're going to come back, because they're going to come into your massage therapy. Well, massage therapy and things that are like physical are completely different than digital. But even in the digital world, when I'm selling like a course and a product, you know, about how to market yourself, I share the best stuff oftentimes up front. And it's because if I'm sharing that good of stuff to you now, just imagine what I'm going to be sharing to you once you're a paid customer, right?
Yep.
And that's really the mentality. So that's what you want to think about when you're kind of creating content that can get in front of your audience.
Cool.
But the other elements that I wanted to talk about in regards to engagement are, you know, my wife has a Pilates studio here in Los Angeles, and here in LA we have quite a few of these around, right?
Sure.
And when she first opened her studio, there were about 3 or 4 studios right around her. Well, in the last 2 years since then, those studios around her have closed down, and she's primarily the main studio going right now. However, there is another studio probably 2 to 3 blocks away, and in LA, I mean, you know, this is pretty common, but it's kind of a bigger studio. It's a studio. It's not a bigger studio in the sense that the space is bigger, because her space is bigger, but it's more of it's a chain, right?
Okay.
So why does her studio do better than these other studios? Right? What is she doing that they're not doing? And so let me just look at this as a case study for a quick second for people that maybe are worried about competition, worried about, you know, other studios and things like that. The biggest difference between her studio and those studios is that she cares.
It's that connection.
And that's all. That's it. I mean, here's the thing. So my wife is very good at building a community, building people that building people that will come back over and over again, because she makes that personal connection with them. Not only does she do that, I mean, she texts with her clients, she goes to coffee with her clients, she creates strategic partnerships with other stores around to get more people into her business. So like she'll go to a running store because they do not only Pilates, but they also do a treadmill. So it's reformer and treadmill. It's called FitMix. And so it's a combination of both treadmill intervals and then getting on a modified reformer and getting your core just beat the crap out of, which is awesome. But she makes these connections with other stores. She also makes connections with places like that do juicing, right? She'll go in a juice store and they'll do a trade, right? And so the juice will send their business to her. In turn, she'll send it to them, and she does that really, really well. The biggest elements that to her success are that she cares, though. Like a lot of studio owners, the other ones that were run, they were run by people that just didn't care about their customers. They had somebody else running the whole thing and just took a step back. And what that does is that creates a callous and cold relationship which can't be sustained.
Yep.
And if right now, yes, my wife is the business, but here's the cool thing: my wife has hired. I think they have about 10 to 11 trainers. All of these trainers have the same mentality as she does. Why do they have that? Because she has expressed that this is the mentality she's looking for. She hires the right people that are engaged and connect, and she pays them right. Okay, that's one of the biggest things. Is like other studios will not pay their trainers as much. She will love her trainers. Actually, she'll love them so much she'll give them extra. She will nurture their own personalities and nurture their own expressive qualities, and they now are the ones that sell essentially or get their own people into the studio. So it's a really great way if you have someone that is a customer, or if you have people that work for you. Nurture those people, build those relationships with those people, and make sure you're hiring the right people that really have that same belief system as you do in regards to how you want to, have what you want to do with your business. Because my wife's business is not just a business and shut off. No, her business is all about how to make other people happy and content in their bodies. She's not talking about, all right, you have to burn the fat and become like this awesome LA body, and if you don't, you suck. Because no, that doesn't motivate people. I'm sorry. No. She actually goes the other way, and she's like, we're trying to get you to a point where you're your best body.
Yep, you're the best you.
And you go at the pace that you want. We're here to motivate you and make you excited about it, and not push you beyond. Beyond. We'll help you to reach your potential, and that might be you might be planking for 2 more minutes than you normally would, but it's you really feel like they're in your corner, when you're working with them, and I think that's that's why they have success. Some of the other things is they use different automation tools, for their shopping cart and things like that, their merchant account.
Yep, their engagement and follow up.
Yeah, they use Mind and Body for the software that they use, which a lot of studios use. It's a payment processor, scheduling, schedules all the different times. I know different companies that use it, we know a dog training company that use Mind and Body. A chiropractor can use it. It's all about scheduling and how many slots you have. So if you sell group classes, you can show, you have 10 slots available and people can pick the slots and stuff like that. So it's a really great software for that. But at the end of the day, how do you get people to come into your studio? And I think a lot of that pertains to, creating that one-on-one engagement, putting something online, getting it found in the search results, and online events, webinars, and again, as I said, online, that may be a personal demo or a show are really strong ways to get people to come into your your office, your studio, whatever you're doing, whether
Yeah.
you're a yoga instructor or what have you.
Yes.
Doing these webinars or streaming right into the camera and maybe even doing a demo or teaching something that's really going to be beneficial is a great way to build that connection.
Sure. That's great. I think it's so important to dig deep into why we start the businesses that we start. Like you said, the story, your wife's passion, and her willingness to be very specific about who she hires and brings into her company. I mean, that speaks so deeply about really understanding the why about our story. Let me ask you one more thing, and then I know we're running short on time.
No worries.
We've talked about webinars for the funnel. One of the other things that I continue to find is that wellness business owners are experts that have some amazing knowledge to help people.
Yeah.
Most of them say, man, I've got a book I need to write. It doesn't get that much further. How do you see webinars as a way they can quickly take that knowledge and apply it as a course? It does a couple things. One, it helps them reach more people regardless of geography. Technology flattens geography.
Right.
But two, it's not this, well, someday I'll finish that book. That they could take it and turn it into something that they could quickly turn around, that is automated, that can get their knowledge out there.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about
Sure.
that?
So I wrote a book recently. I don't know if you know this, but I wrote a book recently, and the book is really based a lot on what I teach in my webinar. It's really a structured. It's a different webinar that I taught, but how I started that book was I transcribed video training that I was doing. I transcribed a video where I was doing my PowerPoint presentation, which is a webinar, guys. Okay.
Yep.
And I took that and then I pieced it together. I had someone transcribe the audio, right? So it's like an hour long worth of video. I had them transcribe the audio into text, and then we went through and edited it out and made it into a book, right?
Nice.
Well, it's
So wait.
it wasn't just an hour long, but that's the idea, that you could actually use what you're teaching and put it into, you repurpose the content that you create. You don't have to type out a book. You could speak out a book and then have it repurposed into text, right? And then edited.
That's the summary that I really wanted to catch, because I've watched you do it. And I think, as I think about so many of the wellness business owners, they're running ragged. They're running on the business treadmill, is what I call it.
Yeah.
That it's just nonstop. But just in their act of teaching their clients that they have already, and that's what I saw you do. You said you took the webinar that you were already doing. You took the presentation that you had. You recorded it, and then transcribed it. And so it's like that progression.
It was already my expertise, but it was in a presentation form. These folks that are probably watching, they have their expertise. They're massage therapists. They're X, Y, and Z. Maybe they speak at conferences. Maybe if they don't speak at conferences, they should try to speak about what their beliefs are or why they do what they do. Because the more you do that, the more you can get a really strong sense of why you're doing what you're doing. And then once you get in front of a camera or get in front of do a presentation, it comes naturally with the speed by which you produce it. So once you really know, it's just you sharing your expertise. I mean, chances are my wife has a very strong opinion about a lot of things as a Pilates owner, and so she could very easily take the information that she is taught, that she teaches every single day, and put it into a book. I mean, someone could take a video camera, film her for the day, ask her certain questions, right? And those questions could be then turned into a book.
Yep.
You are doing Troy, you said you were doing a blog, right? Or you have a blog, right?
Yep.
That blog, the posts in that blog, you take enough of those, they could be a book. Different chapters in a book or different parts of a chapter in a book. So there's always different ways, instead of the whole everybody thinks traditionally and thinks in this linear way. I want you to start thinking outside the box, people,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
this is where you live. Okay, you're doing what you're doing because you believe in this. Okay, if you were, you know, you think outside the box. That's all I have to say. We're moving into a different time in a different world, and there's definitely things that you can do to speed up your speed up the productivity and life hacks that you can do. I'm all about that. I've been doing a lot of things like that, repurposing stuff. Right now working on some video series, and a lot of it is going to be repurposed content that I'm putting together into a working series. So it's this is all knowledge that you probably already have. It's just a question of how do you get it how do you get it consumed. Oftentimes I walk. This is why I love my morning walks with my dog. First off, I get anytime I start working out, my mind starts to feel better. But then I also can go into my memo or my voice recorder and start recording things like things like my video 1 for Easy Webinar 4.0, right? I started recording that. Hi, Casey Zeman here. So as you can see, like that's going to be turned into text at some point, right?
Yep.
So anyway,
And
it's
that's
like
outside of the box. You're out
Yeah,
walking
it's
your
just
dog, and you just record what comes to mind.
yeah, you're recording, you're thinking. This is the thinking game. It's a thinking game, and then it's a doing game, and it's okay to mess up a lot.
Yeah.
A lot, as I said a lot, and not a little. Mess up a lot. It's absolutely fine. In fact,
Yeah.
you can mess up webinars quite a bit and still be successful.
Cool.
So,
One more parting thought. I heard you
Yeah.
say this yesterday. There was a live event we were on, and I heard you say this, and I just found it inspiring to myself, and I think to the audience that would watch this or read about it. The phrase was a simple phrase. You said, "Believe in your expertise." I'd just love to hear you expand on that a little bit just as we close, because
Sure.
I think particularly for doctors or trainers, they get so focused on, well, I do this thing and I help my clients, but that's just how I help my clients.
Yeah, so they don't it's possible that they don't have enough validation in what they're doing. When you are doing a webinar, when you are trying to connect with an audience, you have to be the best you can possibly be. Now, that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that you are false. That doesn't mean that you become someone who can solve the world's problems. But what you do is, I just said do. I'm really sorry. What you do is you express you have to tell people what you were an expert in. Like I hate talking about myself. Sometimes I hate talking about what my expertise is. And it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to kind of feel like feel like weird when someone says something like you're the webinar Jedi, right? Because maybe you're not used to compliments or things like that, and you're not looking for that. But when you're connecting with your audience, you have to allow those things to be visible, like social proof. Okay, you have to qualify why you're the expert to them. And the more you can have other people qualify it for you, the more you can have things like a book qualify it for you, the better. But the most important element is to believe in your expertise and your qualifications. And that's what a lot of people don't do. They kind of, it's okay to express that you are modest. That's absolutely fine. But at the same time, as you express your modest, you want to also, do express what your expertise and your passions are. Put those out there. You put those out there. That's the most important thing. Like I don't necessarily, talk about my accolades so much. I do, but I kind of go more into why I do what I do and why I want to help, and what my expertise are and why my expertise are as they are. So, it's yes, you have to have a belief in yourself. And a lot of people, unfortunately, it's this fake it till they make it. But even after they've made it, they still think, even after they made it, that they're still faking it.
Yeah.
Now, that's the problem, is that at this point, you're not faking it anymore. You've made it, okay? Yep. And a lot of times it's hard to differentiate. You don't really know.
Sure.
It's hard to see when have I made it? Where's the point where I've made it? Is it when I've made, $100,000 at this business? 200, 300, a million? When is the point where I am now that expert?
Yep.
It's when you believe it. That's the thing. It's when you say to yourself, "Oh, I am the expert." This fake it till you make it. I mean, you never lie. You're never going to want to lie about where you're at. You're never going to want to say, "Hey, I made $100,000 in this last year," when you didn't, right? But you can come at it from a different angle and talk about your expertise. Why are you the expert? Even if you've helped one person out with something, you're an expert. Okay. Yeah. Remember, here's the thing. Experts, if you have an audience waiting for you, they're probably not an audience that knows more than you. They're an audience that knows less than you.
Correct.
Okay?
Yep.
So just realize that you have an audience waiting for you. Don't worry about if you are not so scientific as Dr. So-and-schmo over here, okay? You have an audience that is perfect and right for you. I know so many people that don't do things because they think, oh, well, I'm not the expert. I had this friend who was a guitar player. I'll just finish this real quick. A guitar player. And he was a brilliant guitar player, and he used to take apart guitars and put them back together and realign them. And I was like, you should make videos about that. Put it on YouTube. He was like, no, there are guys doing it already, and I'm not technical. I don't know all the technical mumbo-jumbo about how to move it. And I was like, dude, do you know how many people are probably in your same boat that don't know the technical elements, that don't care about the technical elements? They just want to see someone moving things around and testing it out.
Yep.
Your audience, there is an audience for you, okay? No matter what level of expertise you have, there's an audience waiting, ready to consume what you have, okay?
Yep.
So anyway, I'll get off the soapbox.
No, that's a good soapbox. It's interesting. You brought me back a couple decades. I mean, time flies. But I had a mentor years back that encouraged me in a way that has always stuck with me. He said we should always be reaching up to find someone that can pull us and stretch us. So we're always continually learning and looking for someone that has experienced more than us, say?
Yes, yeah.
But at the same time, he said, never get so focused on that, well, I don't know enough.
Mm-hmm.
But be able to turn and say, I have gone past where someone else is at.
Right.
And to help them along. And so I've always loved that picture where I'm reaching up to grow, always continually growing. So when you talk about, did I arrive? Am I it?
Yeah.
Did I make it? I find myself pulling back. It's like I don't want to be it. I want to continually grow.
Right.
And pull as many along as I can, right?
Yeah. And that's the idea, is that it's, I don't actually look at it or in the sense of like you made it or you're faking it. I kind of look at it as like you have a knowledge skill, and just like you said, there's more to learn, but there's also so much that you've already passed and learned. Yeah. So I think that's, and as long as you can, as the expert, say, this is what I've learned, this is what I've gone through, these are my experiential moments that allow me to say that I am a doctor in, chiropractic work, or I am a yoga instructor that teaches specifically about this because of the fact that I've gone through this. Mm-hmm. And I've reached a point where I have a certain belief system based on what I've taught thus far. Yep. From what we experience with our clients, the good and the bad. We all create a concept of how we teach, of how we do what we do, of what kind of doctor we are, what kind of yoga instructor we are, because the more we can really understand how ourselves and understand how we've gone through these experiential moments, the better we can convey it to our customer, and that customer is going to be excited because now
real.
they can say, "Oh, this is the guy. He's gone through these moments. I actually, relate to this person." So anyway, it really comes down to you just being very open about why you do what you do as that expert, and what your expertise are, and the more specific you are, the better, I think. So
That's great. I sure appreciate your time, Casey.
Oh,
Thank
Troy,
you.
no problem.
It was
No,
it was good, and I look forward to many more conversations like this. whether they're
Absolutely, man. And I
recorded
like
or
your
not.
hair. My wife has like a shaved sides
Yeah.
top right here, so it's. I
This,
like
this
that.
is actually getting a little long for me, but
Is it? Is it? Yeah. That's that. She's like usually she's like, man, I got to start cutting this down. It's getting too long. So I like it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks again, Casey. Appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.